Welcome, everyone. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the real estate business opportunity in this crisis of the coronavirus. So thank you, everyone, for joining today. I'm sure you've been bombarded with a lot of information, but today we're going to focus on how you're going to thrive in this crisis, okay? And we're going to focus, obviously, in real estate. We're going to answer many questions. Most importantly, what I want to focus on is what exactly you can do today to thrive in this crisis within the real estate market. We're also going to cover what are the things that you need to sort of be very cautious or stay away from at this point so you weather the storm. So the first question that we're going to answer is how quickly is this impacting the economy, in particular real estate? The answer is now, immediately. As you saw, the stock market plummeted about 3,000 points in the last week. Businesses are shutting down. So this is affecting the entire economy. And what's going to happen, friends, is that not only that, but this will affect mostly hourly workers. So we're going to be seeing big layoffs in the near horizon, okay? So that's something that is going to impact the real estate tremendously, okay, for homeowners and for renters, okay? So we're going to be discussing all the opportunities that you are going to have and the things that you need to focus on because, believe it or not, this is going to be a huge opportunity for all of you, okay? I'm telling you, all of you, and I'm going to give you specific examples how this is presenting already huge opportunities. So I'm super excited to share that with you. So now let's talk about how long will this impact the real estate overall. Typically, people are speculating this is going to take between 2 months all the way to a year. The real answer is that we do not know, but this is the great news. Flus typically skyrocket in the winter, but they stop in the summer. Why? Because flu viruses hate the heat of the summer. So our hope is that summer comes, the spread is going to stop, and things will start to slowly get back to normal, but we don't know yet, okay? This is something new. So the next question is, what is it that you can do today, okay, to weather the storm? So this is a great opportunity, friends, for you to step back, okay? Analyze, understand your weaknesses, okay? And learn. We need to learn. We need to get up to speed on all the techniques, everything, the blueprint, A through Z that I've been showing you for you to build $1 million empire in rentals, okay? So we're gonna talk about the impact in the different areas of real estate. I wanna start with fix and flips, okay? Because there are many flippers in the DealVault and in the Chicago area network. So what's going to happen with flips? Let me tell you. Let's cover. For those of you who are thinking about buying a property for a flip, my suggestion is to hold on to that, okay? Because of the following reasons. Buyers right now are panicking, okay? Because they are afraid that their job is insecure because they could be laid off anytime, especially hourly workers. And keep in mind that as real estate investors, we are focusing on B, C areas, bread and butter. For those of you who do not know what those are, we're categorizing the areas, A being the most expensive, D being the most challenging. So we're focusing in the bread and butter, in the middle, the B and the C areas. So we're going to talk about all of that. So for those of you who are thinking about doing flips, flips are going to be extremely risky. I'm going to tell you why. First of all, if there's a lockdown complete lockdown in Illinois, the recorder's office is going to close. The title companies are going to close. Therefore, no transactions are going to happen. Not only that, but already all the judicial auctions have been postponed 30 days, okay? So if you're thinking about a flip, please think about it twice, because it's going to get impacted tremendously. If you end up buying the property, you're going to sit on the property for a lot longer. So your carrying cost is going to go up, obviously squeezing your profits. If you already bought a property that you're thinking about flipping, well, the problem is that most villages are shutting down or closing very quickly. So if you need to get a permit, right? If you need a pre-sale inspection, guess what? That's not going to happen anytime soon. So if you're not able to pull permits at this point, guess what's going to happen to your work? It's just going to stagnate. It's going to sit, right? But in the meantime, your carrying costs are building up. So that's something to be very cautious. Now, for those of you flippers who already have a property that it's been rehabbed, okay, and now we're in this crisis, my advice is to take it off the market, put it in temp status, meaning temporarily off the market. What's going to happen is MRED already announced that if you put the property in temp status, it's not going to count towards the total market time, okay? So they're going to give us a break. For those of you who have properties in the MLS listed for sale, you know, if you're doing a flip, please take them off the market right now, because your property is going to sit in the market, okay, longer. So you want to put it on temp, and MRED will take care of the total market days. In other words, your listing is not going to get burned. So when a listing stays in the market for a long time, you know, 3, 4, 6, over 6 months, then we call that a burnt listing, because, you know, that's a negative connotation. People assume there's something really wrong with the property. So even if your property doesn't have anything wrong, we want to prevent that from happening, right? Burning the listing. So if you already have a property on the market, please put it into, or have your broker put it into temp status. It's not going to count towards the total market time, okay? And unfortunately, your listing is going to sit in the market. So your carrying cost is going to go up, because right now buyers are sort of afraid. But now let's talk about buyers. Okay, what's happening with buyers? Something to think about right now in the economy is that we're entering a recession at this point. But the great news, friends, is that we have two factors that are very critical to a healthy economy, and we have those. Employment at this point, it's been amazing. So the unemployment rate is very low. It's in the low 3%, okay? It's historically low, which is great news. Something that is very good for the economy, interest rates, okay? Interest rates are historically low. They're in the 3.5s or so. So what does that mean when the interest rates are so low? That means that we're gonna have more buyers coming into the pool, into the real estate pool. Why? Because their purchasing power has just gone up, okay? So they're gonna be able to buy properties. Right now, the biggest lender in the United States, Quicken Loans, has not yet released any news on holding loans towards buyers. So right now, still, private money lenders, hard money lenders, conventional lenders are lending money, okay? Why? Because the economy is still healthy, employment-wise, and interest rates. Interest rates are so low that right now for buyers, what makes sense is to enter the real estate market, but rental market. Because why, friends? We're gonna see a lot of layoffs. So what do people need when they are laid off? They need cash, right? they need liquidity. So what gives you liquidity in real estate? Rentals, right? Because you're going to have positive cash flow on a month to month. That is why right now the focus should be on rentals. And let me tell you, rental rates, how are they going to be impacted? No, they're not. Why? Because everyone needs a place to live, right? And there's a shortage of inventory. So houses for sale and for rent are in shortage. Therefore, rental rates are still going to maintain, or they might go up. So why will the rents may go up in the near future? Because, as I mentioned before, many people are going to lose their jobs. So what's going to happen? If they default in their mortgage payment, eventually they're going to lose their home to the foreclosure process. So when that happens, guess what? They still need a place to live. So they are going to move into the rental market. Therefore, rents will remain the same or go up. Therefore, going into the rental market, it's a safe place to be right now. But keep in mind, I'm going to tell you, we talked about the A markets, the B, the C, and the D markets. So A being the most expensive, D being the most challenging. So the markets that are going to get the most affected, and I'm talking about rentals, are going to be the C markets. Okay, why the C markets? Because C markets are the sort of like the challenging areas, such as, for instance, C0 is a C plus, or other areas that are very close to the B areas. Those are considered C areas. So they are primarily, we have primarily hourly rate workers. Okay, so these people are being hit the most. So they might not have a job, they might not be able to pay their mortgage, eventually they might lose their homes. Okay. However, what happens with the B markets, A markets, you know, the Plains, the A areas, Mount Prospect, those people are going to feel the pinch of the crisis, but not as much. Why? Because they are primarily salaried employees, and they, or most of them, get to work from home. Okay, therefore you're not going to see a huge impact on the A or B market. So right now, if you're thinking, which you should be thinking about doing rentals, you need to focus on B markets and A markets for rentals. Okay, try to stay away from C markets, because what's going to happen right now in C markets, for instance, right now we have a rental in Elgin, okay, not South Elgin, in East Elgin. So it's a C minus market. Already, the tenant has not yet paid the rent for March. So you're going to be seeing that tenants are starting to have issues financially, right? So they might be behind on the rent. So you need to work out a plan to either delay evictions, work out a payment plan with your tenants, because this is a temporary situation, okay? This is not gonna last forever. So try to avoid evictions at all possible costs, because right now, if the government shuts, you could be in an eviction for months and months. So try to work a plan, a payment plan, work with your tenants so that you can avoid an eviction. But you're gonna be seeing that if you own rentals in C or D markets, you are going to see people struggling because they're out of business, hourly employees primarily. They don't get to work from home, okay? So keep that in mind. We need to get into the rental market, into the B plus, B areas, A minus, because that's just going to work the best. Why? Because we need positive cash flow on a monthly basis, and people still need a place to live, right? So if they can't afford their own home, guess what? They're going to rent a property, and hopefully that's your property. So that's the take on the rental market. Now, let's talk about wholesaling, because many of you are thinking or have already incorporated wholesaling. Let me tell you, in real estate, you only have 3 exit strategies. You either wholesale, fix and flip, or buy and hold. Ideally, you focus on obviously rentals, and then you can do, you should incorporate wholesaling on either one of those 2 strategies that you keep, either the flips or the rentals. Always try to do wholesaling. Why? Because that's immediate cash, right? You can just get a property in the contract, and if it's not for you, if it requires a lot of work, but if it's a great deal, guess what? There are going to be many people who'll be interested in buying that property. So please, by all means, continue to do wholesales. And what's going to happen right now to sellers? Okay, let's talk about sellers. Sellers are going to be extremely motivated right now to take action to sell. Why? Because if their job is at stake, guess what? They may not be able to pay for their mortgage. So they're going to be very motivated to potentially sell their property. Other people who are panicking right now have equity in their properties. They want to be liquid, right? If they have a lot of equity, they may want to sell their property, cash out, put some reserves aside to weather the storm, right? Just pay for all their monthly expenses that they may have. So you're going to see a great number of motivated sellers owning properties with high equity. So keep an eye for motivated sellers, because we're going to be seeing a lot of motivated sellers, and we're going to be seeing 2 kinds of motivated sellers. Motivated sellers with a lot of equity, right? They just want to cash out. They want to have a cash reserve set aside. And other people who are unfortunately distressed motivated sellers. So they're going through financial hardship. They may have already lost their job and they can't afford the mortgage. So they really need to sell their property, because guess what happens if they don't sell their property? They will, 3 things are going to happen to them. They will lose their property, they're going to lose the equity they have, and they're going to ruin their credit. So they're going to be extremely motivated to sell their property. And keep in mind, we don't want to profit or benefit from the situation. We want to offer a solution to the distressed sellers. That's who we are. We are problem solvers in real estate. We want to provide a solution to distressed sellers, okay? And most importantly, people, friends, we must exercise empathy, okay? They're going through financial distress. They're going through emotional distress. Please empathize with them. They're going through hardship. So we are going to help them, right? Obviously, in the process, we will financially be better off. But the objective is to help these distressed owners, and at the same time, we'll be giving them a solution for their financial crisis that they're going through. Let's talk about some other areas in real estate that you should stay away from because they're being hit the most. Vacation rentals or Airbnbs, they're being hit the strongest, as well as commercial real estate. So if you're thinking about getting into commercial real estate, especially mixed use or storefronts, that market is going to be slammed the hardest. Okay, so try to stay away from commercial real estate, meaning office space in general. Why? Unfortunately, small businesses are going to go out of business very, very soon because they cannot survive or they cannot weather the storm. So they won't be able to pay for the lease. So try to stay away from that. Or if you're trying to do Airbnbs, also put that on hold and perhaps turn those Airbnbs into regular rentals, because right now, obviously, people are not traveling. They are in quarantine. So those are 2 of the markets that are being hit the hardest. Now let's talk about property prices. What's happening to property prices, or what's going to happen to property prices? Okay, so if you remember the burst in 2008, right? Everything was just going skyrocketing, right? And all of a sudden, boom, everything collapsed because we did not have a healthy economy. Okay, interest rates were high, employment was high, so properties, obviously property prices were extremely high. So it's called asset repricing or correction, right? Everything collapsed. So ever since 2008, new construction has not kept up with the demand for real estate housing. Okay, so what that means is if you're not building enough real estate, what's happening is that there's a shortage of houses for sale. Therefore, when the supply is low and the demand is high of properties, then property prices are high. Therefore, still today, we have a shortage of properties for sale. There are going to be a lot more properties coming into the market from these distressed owners. So prices are going to adjust, but not significantly. Property prices are still going to be high. They're going to adjust. They're going to go down perhaps a bit, but not much. Okay, so keep that in mind. Why? Because still interest rates are low, which means that we're going to have more buyers coming into the market pool. So keep that in mind. Property prices are not going to go down as they did in 2008. So this is not the time to sell. Believe me, this is not the time to sell. Okay, so many people may be panicking and they just want to sell because they think the property prices are going to plummet. They will not. Okay, two things that will prevent, actually three things that will prevent property prices to plummet. We have interest rates extremely low historically, okay, 3.5%. That brings more buyers into the market. So the more people into the market, the greater the demand for housing. So property prices are not going to plummet. Number two, unemployment rate is still very low, less than 3%. And obviously we have a shortage of housing. Those three reasons combined will make property prices still stay high, okay? So now for those of you who fear, right, well, what's going to happen with my job? Will I keep my job? Will I get laid off? My advice to you is that if you have equity in your home, this is the time to refinance, okay? Because you can, what's called a HELOC, do a HELOC, home equity line of credit. So you can tap into your equity, right? So take some money out, right? It's going to be at a very low interest rate, okay? And then you can do two things with that money. Set some money aside for reserves so that you're liquid, and the second portion of the money invested into rentals. Why? So that you have positive cash flow on a monthly basis. Even if for God forsakes, you lose your job, you will have positive cash flow coming in on a monthly basis, okay? So that is why when you focus on rentals, guess what we're doing? We're leveraging from other people's money and other people's time. Okay, so right now would be the time, if you have equity in your home, to do a HELOC, home equity line of credit, refinance, okay? Or if you have just a, one combined loan on your property, you can get it down. Even if it's 1%, okay, of the total loan amount, it's going to be worth it, okay, when you refinance. And you'll be given the option to cash out, because obviously if it's your own home, most likely you have the seasoning, what they called, okay? They want you to be in the home for at least 6 months. So there are going to be many, many opportunities for you to instantly have liquidity from your home, okay? Because that's what successful and wealthy real estate investors do. They don't sell real estate, they refinance. Why don't you want to sell real estate? selling real estate is not a good idea because it will trigger a tax event, right? So when you sell real estate for a profit, guess what? You're gonna need to pay taxes on your gain unless you do a 1031 exchange, meaning that in 120 days, you put that money into another property, okay? But other than that, it will trigger a tax event. You wanna tap into your equity when you need cash, liquidity. If it's a hard time right now for you, that is your best option. Think about refinance. And we use our conventional lenders. Our preferred partner is Homebridge, okay? So I'll show you how to get in touch with them so that you can refinance, cash out, do a home line equity, and also try to get into rentals, because right now, guess what's happening? In the last week, in ChicagoDealVault, we got about 1,200 properties, 1,200 properties that are going to the auctioning platforms like Hubsu, auction.com. So those are all REOs. And guess what? Last, I would say 2 days ago or so, I was browsing through the inventory. I was coming across awesome deals. Even I found an incredible home run deal. Unfortunately, it was a little bit too late. I saw it the next day, and it had already gone to the auction, but we could have pulled that from the back door had I looked at it a day before. So I'm gonna give you some examples. Right now, people are just so distracted into this crisis that you should set your eyes with hope, have confidence in yourself, and especially take a step back and learn what you didn't have time to learn about real estate. So that is why ChicagoDealVault is going to be committed to do 3 webinars a week to make sure that we give you everything that you have to know, so there's nothing on your way for your success. Not only that, but we have already, you must have received a text message today for you to download our newly launched ChicagoDealVault app. It's all about training. We have released over 100 training videos, and they're categorized in a sequential manner so that everything makes sense for you. How to identify great rental markets, how to access great home run off-market deals, how to analyze deals in seconds, how to secure funding. So all of that is in the DealVault app. So I'm gonna go over that in just a second, because I wanna make sure that you take this time to learn, because what's happening, this is an amazing opportunity for everyone, because think about this. When we've seen movies where they say freeze and everyone freezes, that's what's happening right now. So it's like buying time. You have a lot of time right now in your hand that you need to take advantage of. You really need to focus, like laser beam, learn everything that there's to learn about real estate, which we're gonna give you. Not only that, but please focus on rentals. Okay, perfect, thank you. So many people are asking about virtual wholesaling. What that means is that you're gonna reach out to homeowners over the phone, okay, via text, via email. And in fact, you're gonna be making them an offer on their properties. Ideally, you always have to look at the property first, but you can make offers via email or over the phone contingent upon you seeing the property, right? So you can still do virtual wholesaling, because the objective of wholesaling is to get a property on the contract. Once you have that property in the contract, you're gonna reassign that contract to a cash buyer. So definitely you can do virtual wholesaling. Can everyone pose the questions again on the chat, or mute yourself, because we lost the questions previously that you wrote. If there are any other questions on the chat. So virtual wholesaling definitely is going to be happening. Some of you who do have access to dialers and seller leads, by all means, this is the time to try to reach out to them, but please make sure that you exercise empathy, okay? You're not gonna say, hey, I'm a real estate investor interested in buying properties in your home. Do you have a property for sale? You want to empathize with them because they're going through financial crisis right now, right? So empathize, put yourself in their shoes. Try to find out exactly what they want, what they need, right? Because some people will want to stay in their home, some other people will want to sell the property. So find out exactly what they want, when they want it, right? Because if they want to move at a given time, you can make that happen, right? But again, let's just focus on how you can thrive in this economy. Let's just quickly, I want to make sure that everyone understands what we just covered today. And I'm going to give you some examples of some great rentals that I found. So the activities that you need to be focusing on are two. You need to learn, you need to keep abreast on everything from identifying hot rental markets, accessing great off-market deals, analyzing them in seconds, making offers, securing funding. So learning. Second thing that you need to focus on is rentals, okay? Rentals, everyone needs a place to live. Rents are gonna stay stable. Property prices are not gonna plummet, they're gonna adjust. They're gonna correct themselves, but what that means is they're not gonna plummet like in 2008, even though we might be entering a recession. They're not gonna plummet, okay? Keep that in mind because we have a shortage of inventory. So properties for sale is still at a low rate. We also have interest rates very low, which makes that a healthy factor for the economy. But at the same time, we're going to have more buyers coming into the pool, which they're going to have more purchasing power. So we're going to have sort of like more competition. But again, we're focusing on off-market properties, properties that are technically not for sale. So what I want to show you is some of the great deals that I just came across like 2 days ago. So let me show you one that really caught my eye. So this is a Bankton property that came 3 days ago. This property came in Old Town. So we got, let me show you, in ChicagoDealVault, if I reset this, let me clear this filter, we got 1197 properties. So in the last 5 days, we got about 1,200 REOs that we can pull from the back door. And not only that, but they came in amazing areas at extremely low prices. But let me show you the one that truly caught my eye. So why did it catch my eye? Because this property is in Old Town. So it's west of, north of the Gold Coast. It's in an incredible location, as you can see right here. It's in Old Town, very close to south of Lincoln Park, west of Gold Coast. So this condo, actually it's a townhome, we could have bought it 2 days ago for $400,000. Obviously, this is an A market, but this is what I want to show you, friends, so that you can just see the power. This is the property, right? It's a townhome. Let me show you the pictures, okay? So it's got its own balcony, backyard. So this is the property. So it needs very little work, okay? Look, it's just very little work. The flooring is done, the walls, the lighting. Here, there's an issue with the roof, with the ceiling, I should say, not roof, with the ceiling. So that just needs to be patched up, painting. So basic cosmetic work, okay? Look at the property, okay? Let me show you the kitchen. The kitchen is, even the appliances, look at the appliances. It's in very, very nice condition. I mean, great property. 400, it's an A area. The bathroom for this kind of area, let me tell you, the bathroom is, even though for a BC area, this is a great bathroom. For a rental, this is a great bathroom. But guess what? For an A area in Old Town or near the Gold Coast, this is not good. Okay, this needs to be redone. This other bathroom as well. For a B area rental, this is perfect. But for an A area in Old Town, this needs to be updated, okay? So that's the property for $400,000 that we could have bought from 2 days ago from the back door, zero competition. Let me show you the property that is right next door, okay? Or like literally like right next door that is currently for sale, okay? This is it. So the address for the property next door is, the subject property is 170. The one we're gonna look at is this one, 164. This one, the first one right here, 164. Okay, it's the property right next door. So let me show you the pictures. First of all, look at the price, $850,000. You see the spread? This property that just needs cosmetic work, you could buy it for like 400, okay? But this one, it's identical, same association, okay? Is currently selling for $850,000, okay? Townhomes in this area are going for no less than $800,000. If you want a single family home here, it's gonna be over $1 million. So let me just quickly show you the pictures of this property. And guess what? The layout is even identical. You see that? It's even identical to the one that I show you. So the only difference between these pictures and these pictures is the paint. Where are my pictures here? So let me just show you the pictures for the new property, right? So look at this. It has a staging, okay? But it's just technically paint, okay? And it's furnished. Look, it's exactly the same layout. The kitchen, it's also very nice, but it's just similar to the other one, right? So on the other one, we might upgrade maybe the countertop. The appliances are great. Even the fridge on the other property is better, okay? So what makes it look very nice, two things, friends. Paint and staging, meaning all the furniture. You see the bathroom, you see the difference? So this bathroom is updated. This bathroom is for an A area, Old Town, Gold Coast. So the bathroom, we would need to update. Look at this, okay? This is just paint, okay, and the staging. So the bathroom, you see it's the same thing, exactly the same layout. You see first floor, second level. But what I wanted to show you is they're sitting right next to each other, right? But yet there's a price difference of $450,000. So friends, do you think, how much do you think is gonna be the rehab on these? I mean, you don't need to touch the flooring. All you need to do is obviously repair the ceiling, paint, and then upgrade the bathrooms, okay, for sure. The kitchen, you might need to upgrade the countertop, maybe change the hardware on the kitchen. But other than that, look at the fridge. I mean, it's the stove. Everything is like top of the line. It's exactly the same layout. Obviously, all you need to do update are the bathrooms. So my thinking, even if you were to put 50,000 of upgrades, which I'm going very, very high, it would still work. Let me show you the numbers. So if the ARV, I'm gonna go very conservative. If the ARV on that condo or townhome is 800, we're gonna multiply these by 70%, okay? And we're going to subtract the rehab. Let's say we put in 50,000, which to me is quite a lot. The most we should pay for this property is 510. Guess what? We could buy it for 400. I mean, guys, this is a home run deal all day long. So, and you don't need to do the work. I mean, imagine if you buy this property, okay, you can put it, I mean, you can do some cleanup, you can put it back on the MLS for no less than 600. I mean, and this is just one that really caught my eye because in Old Town, you cannot buy a townhome that big in this location for under 750,000. So when I saw 400,000 in Old Town, I mean, it was just mind blowing. So like that, I found many other great deals in great areas. I think there was a couple in Elmwood Park, Mount Prospect, that they're just mind blowing. Okay, Elmwood Park. Let me show you. We found a couple of really good ones, like this one for 162. This property is worth about. Look at the ARV. It's between 223 to 245, and you can get it for like 160. And this needs, I saw the pictures, it needs very little work. Like this, I found, I'm telling you, I found no less than 5 amazing deals. So these would qualify for a great rental, okay? The numbers would work out very, very good because the rents in Elmwood Park are very strong. It's a B plus A market. So those are the markets that you need to be focusing right now. Let's go back to the questions. I want to make sure that we answer everyone's questions in the chat. So one of the questions is, who should we use as private money lender to purchase rentals? Okay, so great question. In ChicagoDealVault, we have a network of private money lenders. Okay, so if you, since right now we cannot run live events, just send us an email and we're gonna give you the names of few of our active private money lenders. So keep in mind, if you need money from private money lenders are relationship based. So you need to build rapport. They need to understand what you're trying to do. You need to make sure that your exit strategy for flip or for rental, but remember, flips are extremely risky right now. They're not gonna give you money if you wanna do flips right now. But if you wanna do rentals, this is the perfect time to do rentals. They will give you money for rentals, okay? So we're gonna give you some names or private money lenders. Not only that, but right here in ChicagoDealVault, okay? We have over, look at this. We have over 6,000 private money lenders. Okay, right here, 6,500. Okay, private money lenders. So these are people who chose to stay passive investors. So they give you money in exchange for a return, right? So they're looking to charge you about 12%, 2 points, and it's a short-term loan. So it's gonna be a 4-month all the way to a year term, okay? So here we have all the private money lenders. Another questions. Anyone vetted with DealVault, I assume, unless you have someone you can trust willing to lend you money. I'm speculating Hugo would have to confirm. I wouldn't, okay, so yes, again, private money lenders, it's relationship based, okay? So you do have to build rapport. Now, to have access to the inventory that I just showed you, the shadow inventory, the 1,200 properties, right, that we got last week, you need to be a yearly subscriber, and then Jacob will need to give you a call, vet you, make sure that you will follow through in the transaction. That's it, very simple. But here, the cool thing is that we can intercept the properties before they go to the auctioning platforms. Or even if they're at the auctioning platforms, we can pull them from the back door, which is huge, right? Because we have no competition. We avoid being in line, right? We're not gonna overbid each other. We're just gonna pull the property from the back door. Extremely powerful. Okay, so I wanna make sure that everyone is focusing on rentals. And then I'm gonna make sure that you download the DealVault app by texting 818-818, the keyword DealVault. Okay, make sure that you download that app because we have over 100 training videos. Now, there's another question. What if nobody pays rent? Okay, so that's a great question. So remember what I mentioned earlier. We need to focus on rentals, but the market that you focus on is very critical. Try to stay away from C markets. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you what the C markets are. So I'm gonna go to ChicagoDealVault. on their area reports, I'm going to show you the C markets that are being affected the most. So C, give me the C rental markets, okay? So let me just search for them. Boom. Okay, so for instance, Bellwood, Berwyn, Blue Island, Broadview, Calumet City, Chicago Ridge, Country Club Hills, Dalton, Glenwood, Hazel Crest. These are C markets. I'm going to mention some others. Justice, that's pretty far. Olympia Fields, Posen, Rosemont, Schiller Park, Stone Park, Summit, Worth, that's far. These are Plano, these are very far. I'm going to show you some others. Waukegan, Zion, Crest Hill, Crate, Joliet, Romeoville, Calumet Heights. So these are C markets. So these markets are being hit the most. Why? Because they have primarily hourly workers. They cannot work from home. You know, they are labor-intensive jobs. They have labor-intensive jobs. Therefore, they may not be able to pay for the rent right now. So you are gonna need to focus on B markets and A markets. So I'm gonna tell you what the B markets are, okay? So these are the B markets that you need to be focusing on. Allsip, Berkeley. By the way, these are the top rental markets. Allsip, Berkeley, Bridgeview, Brookfield, Burbank, Elgin. Focus on South Elgin, okay? Because East Elgin is a C market. Focus on South Elgin. Elmwood Park. You know, the property that I was showing you is in Elmwood Park, Evanston, Evergreen Park, Franklin Park. Let me mention a few others. These are the markets that you need to focus on. Hanover Park, Hillside, LaGrange, Lincolnwood, Lyons, Melrose Park. You know, I would say Melrose Park has pockets, okay? Melrose Park has some areas that are C. So you've got to be careful with Melrose Park. It's not 100% a B area. You just need to watch out for Melrose Park. It has some pockets that are in a C. Elk Grove, Norwich. So these are Oak Forest. These are all B markets. These are the markets that you need to focus on right now for rentals because you're going to have collectible tenants, okay? Like for instance, we have some rentals right now in Bellwood, in Streamwood, all B markets. They have paid the rent on time for the month of March, and we're expecting the same for the next month, for April. But again, that's the result when you have rentals in B markets. So that's where you need to be focusing on right now. There's another question. Okay, so Emre, somebody's mentioning that there have been talks that about suspended mortgage payments during this period. Nothing that I've heard about that mortgage companies or banks are going to give you a break on the mortgage. As far as I know, we still need to pay the mortgages on time. Although there's a grace period. All banks give you a 30-day grace period. So you have some leeway. If your tenant, for instance, is not paying on the 1st, you still technically have most mortgages come out on the 1st, on the 5th, or at the latest on the 10th. So from that date, you still have about 20 to 30-day grace period, okay? So please help your tenants, give that leeway, and don't push for an eviction right now, because you're going to sit in an eviction for several months because the government may end up shutting down, and then you will end up with no rent, with somebody who might damage your property. So please be very resourceful and helpful to your tenants. So there's another question. What is the source for the market type? Oh, okay. So somebody's asking, Angela, how are we getting these markets, whether it's a B, C, A market? So we have analyzed over 300 areas in Illinois, pretty much every single area, including every neighborhood. So we look at demographics, we look at household income, we look at housing supply, we look at the schools, we look at crime, we look at employment, we look at months of housing supply, we look at rental market. That all combined determines whether it's a C market, a B market, a D market, an A market. So remember, A market, the best. D market, the most challenging. So you've got to be focusing right now in the bread and butter, but the bread and butter is split into two, the C and the B. Right now, we're sticking to the B market and the A minus market, okay, for rentals. That's what you need to focus on. So what I would like to do, friends, I would like to quickly summarize everything that we're talking, because for some people, we have a lot of people on the line. I want to make sure that you're able to understand everything that is happening right now. Number one, don't panic. Be safe, protect your family, and most importantly, take this time to take a step back, okay? Learn, exercise empathy on people who are struggling financially, emotionally, okay? This is a huge opportunity for real estate investors. Why? Because there's gonna be a huge pool of extremely motivated sellers who are going through financial distress. Why? Because there's gonna be a lot of layoffs in the near horizon, okay? And those people are gonna be primarily hourly workers, people who have labor-intensive jobs that they cannot work from home. So eventually, small businesses cannot continue to have them on the payroll, so they're gonna lay them off. Those people live in the C markets, okay? So what's gonna happen? They're not gonna be able to pay rent, they're not going to be able to pay the mortgage. So they're either going to, end up in an eviction or losing their home. Okay. So we're going to see right now, think of this like a freeze, right? All the judicial sales have been postponed for a month. So even if they enter the foreclosure process, there's going to be a delay. Okay. But eventually all these distressed owners, we're going to see their homes coming into the market in the next year and a half, okay? So, but you don't need to wait for the properties to go to the judicial auction, friends. The secret is to intercept those properties before they hit the judicial auction, right? You don't wanna wait until the property goes to the judicial auction, because when it goes to the judicial auction, let me tell you the problem. When you go to the judicial auction, it's like going to a Shark Tank. You're going to see a lot of people in a room. They're going to be overbidding for the property. You're going to end up overpaying for the property, sight unseen, and you have to pay cash, right? So you don't want to do that. You need to intercept the property before it goes to the judicial auction. So we connect directly with the owners. So the benefit is that not only can you see the property from the inside, evaluate the condition, empathize with the owner, build rapport, you have zero competition, but most importantly, you're gonna be able to get funding for your deal, right? We're gonna be using asset-based lenders, not conventional, okay? Asset-based. So lenders that focus on the asset, your asset, the property you're gonna buy needs to qualify with two things. Actually, three things. They call it the trifactor. It has to have equity. I'm going to talk about equity. So if the property after repair value is worth, let's say 200,000, you need to have at least 25% equity. So once you purchase and rehab the property, all in, all your expenses should not exceed 75% of the ARV, meaning 150,000. So you need to have equity, like 25% equity. You need to have cash flow. So if you have 25% equity, by default, your numbers are going to work. Okay, so you need to have positive cash flow, and then banks are going to be looking at what's called the debt coverage ratio. What that means is that the banks want you on your rentals to not only have enough cash to pay all the operating expenses, which includes the principal, interest, tax, and insurance, but also for you to have a surplus cash of 20 to 30% on top of it. So if your mortgage is 1,000, they want you to cash flow 200 or 300. So 20, 30%. So banks are going to require you to have the trifactor, but they're going to give you money right now, not only for the purchase up to 90%, but they can also pay 100% of the rehab. And it gets better, friends. Not only can they help you purchase the property, rehab it, but many hard money lenders now offer a rental program. So they give you the money up front, a hard money lender, but they can turn that into a rental loan. So you don't need to even look for a conventional lender to refinance. They can just turn that loan into a long-term loan, 30-year, lower interest rate. So it's super, super powerful. Okay. So some people are asking about how do you determine the rehab estimate on the property. I'm going to give you a rule of thumb. Make sure you write this down. It works incredible, but I'm going to give you the disclaimer. There are two disclaimers. Take the square footage and multiply that by 2. So if the property is 1,000 square feet, multiply that by $20. So your rehab is going to be 20,000. Okay, but here's a disclaimer. 2 things. It has to be in a B-C area, okay? It cannot be in an A area. Like the old town that I show you, no. If you're gonna redo the bathroom, it's not gonna be 4,000 that we pay in a B-C area. That bathroom in an A area is gonna be close to 10,000, okay? Because of the finishes, the quality. So the disclaimer number 1, it has to be in a BC area. Number 2, the rehab needs to be cosmetic, okay? What I mean by cosmetic, you're gonna be touching flooring, painting, updating the kitchen, the bathroom, the light fixtures. What you are not doing, you're not putting a new roof, you're not replacing the windows, you're not touching foundation, you're not putting a new electric system, you are not putting a new HVAC system, you are not rewiring all the electric system, you are not putting a new plumbing system. Every time you touch one of those systems, it's about a 10,000 ticket, right? So multiply square footage times 2, and that's gonna give you a rough estimate of what your rehab is gonna be if it's light to medium, okay? No gut rehab, okay? Stay away from gut rehabs, right? Especially right now. No ways, stay away from gut rehabs. So great question. So now, let's talk about the overall impact for the different strategies. This crisis is hitting the most flippers, okay? Why flippers? If you're thinking about doing a flip, hold off, because your property is gonna sit in the market for a long time. If you already bought a property and you are going to start your flip, let me tell you the bad news. Villages are shutting down, so you're not gonna be able to get permits, you're not gonna get pre-sale inspections, so you're gonna be pretty much held off. Now, if you already did the rehab on your flip and you already put it on the market, please take it off the market, put it in temp status, and MRED is not gonna take that for the total market time, okay? If you're thinking to put your flip on the market, please hold off, okay? Don't put it on the market yet, because right now everything is on freeze, right? So even though buyers have more purchasing power because the rates are low, they're in sort of like panic mode. And with the quarantine, they're not gonna go see your property. So please don't put your property on the market. That is why flippers are being affected the most, okay? Now, other market, commercial, especially storefronts, mixed use, stay away from that. Small businesses are going to go out of business very soon, right? So they're gonna default in their lease payments. Airbnb, short-term rentals, stay away from that. Nobody's traveling, so Airbnbs are gonna suffer quite a lot. So please turn your Airbnb into regular rentals, okay? Now let's talk about property prices. Property prices are going to remain strong. They might readjust, reprice slightly, may go down a bit, but not much. I'm gonna tell you why. Because we still have a shortage of inventory. Since the burst of 2008, new construction has not kept up with the demand, okay? Therefore, we have a shortage of inventory. That is why prices will remain still strong. They might go down a bit because there are gonna be more sellers who will lose their home, right? So there's gonna be a pool of new properties coming into the distressed market, but that's not gonna happen right now. It's gonna happen in the next 6 months to 1.5 years, okay? So properties will readjust, but not significantly, because also unemployment is very low, less than 3%. Interest rates are low. So when interest rates are low, that incentivizes buying, right? That's what fuels the economy. When people spend money, low interest rate, it's cheaper to borrow money from the bank. So you're gonna have more buyers getting into the pool. So you're gonna have more competition. But those buyers, guess what? They're gonna be focusing on MLS deals. You should be focusing on off-market properties, properties that are technically not for sale, just like what I'm showing you: probates, pre-foreclosures, upcoming auctions, REOs, vacant properties. That's what you need to be focusing on, okay? Now, what's going to happen to sellers? Sellers are going to become very motivated to sell their property. Why? Especially labor-intensive workers. Why? Because their job might be at risk. So if they get laid off, they won't be able to pay the mortgage. So they either sell the property or they're going to lose it to the foreclosure process. So when they need to sell the property to cash out, to get out of that distressful situation, that's where you come into the picture. You offer a solution. First of all, remember, exercise empathy. Understand the financial and emotional distress they're going through. And at that point, you can obviously buy the property from them. Another option that sellers have, especially if sellers have a lot of equity in their home, what that means is that they owe very little to the bank and the property is worth a lot. They can, or they should, refinance right now because rates are low. So they can do two things: cash out and then puts money set aside in reserves to continue to pay their mortgage. Now, if you are a real estate investor, right, and you fear your job may be at risk, please get into the rental market right now. It's a great time to get into rentals because you are going to get cash flow. So if you eventually, for instance, may lose your job, you will still have passive income, right? That's what you need when you don't have a job. So rentals is the way to go. And right now, people are in sort of panic mode. So they are letting awesome home run deals go by, just like the one I show you. That property had huge amount of profit, okay? And I show you like a couple of more in Elmwood Park, and I can show you more that I found 2 days ago. So if you're an investor thinking that your job might be at risk, refinance your home. Don't sell, okay? Please don't sell your home. Right now is not panic time to sell your home. Why? When you sell your home, you're gonna trigger a tax event. So you're gonna need to pay taxes on your gain unless you do a 1031 exchange, meaning you need to reinvest that money into another property within 3 to 6 months. Okay, so the best thing to do is refinance. Wealthy and successful real estate investors don't sell properties, they refinance, okay? Because then you will have, if you have rentals, ideally you also refinance to tap into the equity. And guess what? Your tenants will continue to pay for that. So you don't need to take money out of the credit card, out of a loan, you refinance, tapping into your home equity or investment properties equity to have liquidity. Not only that, but to have enough where you need to be. And then talking about the rental market, make sure that you focus on the B areas and A areas. Please stay away from C, D areas because you may not have collectible tenants. Those are gonna be the people suffering the most right now because their job is at jeopardy. Many of them who are on an hourly basis have lost their job and they're at home. They cannot perform their job. If they are, let's say, a host at a restaurant, good luck. They cannot work right now. And most likely they're not making any money. So they might not be able to pay for the rent. So please focus on B markets and A markets. So I just gave you the list. Go in ChicagoDealVault, go to area reports and just sort by B or A markets and then select for the approach cash flow, okay? That's how you can find out what the B and A markets are for rental markets. Because remember, getting into real estate, you need to understand the market because there are flipping markets and rental markets. right now it's not the time to do flips. Okay, they're going to suffer quite a lot. And in fact, we are in the process of doing 3 flips. And guess what? We are going to be sort of stuck, right? That's going to be one of the areas in real estate that is going to be impacted the most. Okay, so rentals is just the way to go. We just have one tenant right now that is falling behind, and it's, guess what? It's in a C market. It's in East Elgin. Okay, but all the other rentals in the C or A markets are just fine. You're going to have collectible tenants. Why? Because they are on a salary. They get to work remotely from home using technology. So those people are going to be okay paying you for the rent. And also as homeowners, right? They're going to be paying the rent. Stay away from short-term rentals, Airbnbs, commercial. Those are the 2 other areas that are suffering the most. Okay, and then please take this time to step back, learn. I just sent you a message on how you can, download the app, ChicagoDealVault app, get up to speed. Now, I'm going to answer another question. What is the property on the MLS for 4 months as a flip? Should I take it off? Yes, of course. You've got to take off the properties. If you're doing a flip, take them off from the MLS, put them on temp status. Embred just sent an email about 2 days ago. If you put the property on in temp status, it's not going to count as total market time. So it's not going to burn your listing. It's not going to look bad. So please take them off right now for at least a month. Okay.